Amandla. Amandla. Eta Nilagadeta. Viva Food and Canning Workers, viva. Viva power, viva. Thank you very much for being here. And it's a great pleasure to see the gathering of the old conspirators. A lot grayer, and I think we are a lot wiser today. I had the privilege of spending the day with Ma Emma Mashinini today. And she recounted to me the fateful day of the 27th of November 1981. The day she was arrested. And she arrives at John Foster Square. And she's angry that they have arrested her. And also a bit perturbed because believing that she's the only one arrested. And then when she is sitting there in John Foster, Neil Agat walks in. And he says to her, Ma Emma, how are you doing? And what Ma Emma says is her spirits lifted. And in her book, a really remarkable book, Strikes That Followed Me All My Life, she recounts this, that she was so speechless because being disconcerted, she wasn't able to reply to him. And she remembers that day to today. And that is who we are, Ma. We were all your sons and daughters. People of outstanding characters like the Kathy Katradas, like you, George, who inspired us to do the impossible by your conviction, by your selfless service to our society, to our freedom cause. And us as the generation of 1976, coming from different parts, myself coming from the line of black consciousness, inspired by Steve Biko, who said, we have nothing to lose but our chains. Converging with people like Neil Agat, who came through the influence of Rick Turner and others, through the Wages Commission, to arrive in the same place. That the backbone of our freedom struggle has to be the organization of workers at the point of production. And building a powerful weapon of the working class would be key in what we want to do. And if we look at it, 30 years from now, 30 years ago, we have defeated the demon of apartheid. We have vanquished the ghosts of apartheid, the racism. 1976 was our Tahrir Square. What did we learn from that? We were smashed as an organization there. And what we learned is that there's only one route to power and to our freedom. And that was organizing ourselves. And organizing ourselves in a painstaking way where we immersed ourselves not as leaders, but as servants of the people. Working in the trenches, in the mines, in the hostels, in the factories, amongst women in our townships and students in our schools, we built up a tsunami of people's power that brought us our democracy and installed President Mandela as the first democratically elected president of our country. And so that 80s period was what I describe as our golden age. We made mistakes, but never once did we claim to represent ourselves or the narrow interest of ourselves as leaders. In fact, we did not attract the careerists or the opportunists or the demagogue. It was very easy to distinguish those people. They are the loudest mouth and we're the worst organizers. And what we taught people was the principles of democracy, of accountability. I would never dare to go to a meet with the bosses without shop stools, without taking a mandate from workers. That's what we learned, the Neil Agat generation. We learned about that grassroots democracy that was so important in winning us our freedom. And today, when I hear of people talking about the Marikana massacre, about how illiterate workers have been misled, I shudder. Because the backbone of the union movement that Neil contributed to came from those hostels, We're illiterate, functionally. We're living in brutal conditions. But I learned my most important lessons in life from them. And so did Neil. And so did countless generations of activists from those 80s. So what we have to admit today is that trust has broken. And we have to ask ourselves the question, where have we gone wrong? And I am part of that part of what we did wrong. Because when we won power in 1994, we demobilized our people. We made them bystanders. And our flawed notion of a development state was that the state alone will deliver jobs and houses and electricity and telephones. And people sat back. And then we went further and said, let us bury the spirit of RDP, the vision of a people's democracy, and replace the human development indicators that we fought for. A better life, which was our contract with our people in 1994. Replace it with a set of macroeconomic and financial indices that took the people out of the equation. And today, we face the consequences of that. We have failed to address the structural problems of unemployment, of poverty, of inequality, and it's been compounded today by the rising class of predatory elites who have corrupted our state, who are the shock troops that are gatekeepers, extracting rent, extracting bribes, selling licenses on our behalf. And that is why we have the chaos, where people respond with violence, because the organization has been destroyed that we built. And then violence becomes a language, because people believe that no one listens to them. And you cannot blame them for that. It is our indictment, all of us. And so I look forward and say, what would Neil Agate or Steve Biko or Chris Hani say today? What would they say to us? They will extol us to go back to what won our freedom. Organizing ourselves at a grassroots level. Of seeing ourselves not as the big leaders, but as the servants of people. By supporting organizations that are today struggling, like Section 27, fighting for textbooks that our children have a constitutional right to. They will support us speaking truth to power. They will say to us, oppose the secrecy bill, because it takes away our voice, and our voice is what we spoke and fought for. And they will say, get out of your comfort zone. That is the message that I get from what I reflect on as the values of a Neil Agate, of a Chris Hani, of a Steve Biko, and the countless others, amongst us many of them luminaries, who have fought to win us this freedom that we so richly deserve and have a fundamental right to. So thank you very much for coming here. It's nice to see you all, and it's nice to renew the spirit, to go back and inspire. Many of you have come here with children, because it's that generation that will have to address the failures that our generation has done. Thank you very much.